Hello there! So today I'm going to be doing a book review about these books right here. This is the Study series by Marie V. Snyder, starting with Poison Study, which is the first book in the series, and the next book is Magic Study, and the final book is Fire Study. So yes, these are the three books that are out at the moment, but I've heard that there's going to be three new books in the series. The first book is coming out next year, I believe, or like the fourth book, because these three are already out. So yes, really excited for that book. Definitely going to read it, and probably all of the books that come out in the series because I really enjoyed it. And so now let me tell you all about it. This book review is going to be completely spoiler free. I am going to be talking about all three books, but I will be talking more in depth about Poison Study, and then I'll kind of just be telling you what I think about these two books, but I won't be spoiling them or giving away any details about the plot. So yes, let us begin. The first book, Poison Study, is about a girl named Yelena who is going to be executed for murder, and on the day of her execution, she gets sent to Valak, who's kind of the second in command kind of thing, and he offers her the choice of either being executed, as she was supposed to be executed, or becoming the king's food taster who, tastes the food to make sure that there's not poison or anything like that in the food, so that the king, or actually the commander, doesn't die. And obviously, she decides not to die, and she becomes the new food taster for the commander, who's the ruler or person of the land. And yes, but her life, it isn't really safe. It's not, she hasn't really, been saved, really. I mean, she has been, but her life is still in danger all the time. She has the family of the person that she killed to deal with. They obviously don't like her a lot. They don't like her at all. And also, she has a secret, all books have secrets it seems, that could lead to her death, or at least to something really, really bad happening. And then as well as that, obviously, she is a food taster now, and so any minute, any day, she could just die from poison that was supposed to be meant for the commander. So, yeah, she's not really safe, is she? No, leads a difficult life, as most people do in books, it seems. This book is YA low fantasy. The fantasy is definitely there in the book, but you can definitely tell that it's gonna kind of be more prominent in the other books in the series, and that's kind of obvious because, I mean, come on, the second book is called Magic Study. But yeah, the reality part of the story is focused on more. It's kind of introducing the fantasy aspects in this book, but it's still there a lot. And also, this book is a romance, and don't leave this video and be like, oh, I'm not going to read this book because of the romance, because the romance in this book is awesome. It completely enhances the story. It in no way detracts from the story. It's really subtle throughout the book, and it only comes about quite slowly. And the book does take place over like quite a long time, like months, I think. So it's not insta-love. It's not all of a sudden. You see it coming, and you want it to come, and it's awesome. I liked it. It was a good part of the story that made it even better when it happened. So yes, good romance. Really, really good. My favorite things about this book was the characters, the plot, and the writing. All were awesome. The plot had some issues, I will say, but the characters were incredibly interesting. So likable, so awesome. Like, I loved Yelena, I loved Valak, I loved all the friends, all the people that were in the castle where Yelena is living. It's awesome, they're awesome. The plot is great, and also the writing style of this book is so good. It's so good. From the very beginning, it's like Maria is like, okay, you're ready, Dylan, are you ready? And then she just goes. Like, from the very first page, or the very first couple pages, it was just on, and it was just so interesting. Things were happening straight away, and I was like, whoa, this is good. And it just kept on going, like, the whole way through the book. It was awesome. I really, really liked it. Also, this book is kind of really, really packed full of stuff. It does happen over a couple months, but there's always something happening, and it's all really interesting, and it's full of stuff, full of it. And normally when I say that, I say after that it was a little bit too much, or I would have liked there to be more pages, or more discussion, or more, a longer kind of version of things, instead of things being packed. But for this book, things were just packed perfectly. Maria got her suitcase, and she organized her stuff, and she put all together so well, and it was good. My least favorite things about this book was, first of all, that it was kind of predictable at the start. This is the plot thing that was not that good, but it only lasted at the start, and then it went away. The plot was amazing after that, but it was a little bit predictable, but it was fine. It was fine. And the other thing that a lot of people have been saying they don't like is that things are very enclosed. Yelena obviously is a food taster for the commander, who's kind of the king, and he lives in this castle, and basically everything in this book happens there, so everything's kind of enclosed into that one place, and you don't really get to explore that much. But you do get to see some characters and some people from outside of the castle, and you get hints of what is outside, and you really, really want to know what's outside and, explore that more. And, there's more books in the series, and they do explore more of the world as you would expect, and it's awesome. It is awesome. I liked it so much. So yes, this book is so good. From page 1 to page 300 and something, it's good. It's good. Love the characters, they're awesome. Love the story, and love this world. Just read this book. Read it, you guys, because it's so good. I give it 5 out of 5, and I loved it so much. So the next book is Magic Study, and this happens straight after what happens in Poison Study. And as the title suggests, there is more magic, there is more fantasy, which is great. My favorite things about this book were the characters. Just like the first book, the characters were awesome. Some of my favorite characters, though, from the first book were kind of absent a lot of the time for this book, but I made some new favorite characters, and Yelena still was an awesome, like really relatable, really enjoyable character. Some of the characters that I really, really liked that were introduced in this book are Kiki the horse. If you read the book, you know. Just read the book and you will know. And also Fisk, who was just darn adorable. Just so adorable. So adorable. I also really liked the writing style of this book. It was just as good as Poison Study, and also the magic and the fantasy aspects were really cool and kind of a little bit unique. I mean, they were kind of the same, I guess, as other fantasy books, but they had the unique little things to them, and I really, really enjoyed them. And just all the things that Yelena was doing, and all the magic and fantasy aspects. And also, I really, really love the world in this book. This world building it took off in this book, and it was really good, I think. And also, I really like the world. Like, it's so interesting to me, and it's so cool, and I like it a lot. My least favorite things about this book was that it wasn't as good as Poison Study. And, once an author writes in a really, really amazing book, you just expect them to write all of their other books just as amazing, and they don't obviously always do that. And it's kind of disappointing, but I mean, I kind of expected it because I had read some reviews about this book and I knew that it wasn't as good as Poison Study, or people were saying that, and so I wasn't expecting it to be. But after reading Poison Study, you just want it to be better, because the author's capable of it. Also, some of my favorite characters weren't in this book as much as I would have liked. They were kind of absent for a lot of the time, which wasn't kind of good. And also, Yelena, she can't think before she acts. She runs into dangerous situations all the time, just like that. Can I click? Yes, I can click. Yeah, she's running into dangerous situations all the time, just running, no thinking happening. I mean, can you not learn and just start to think? It got a little bit annoying after a while, but yeah, it was still okay. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed this book. It was fun. I really liked the world and the magic, and it was a good book. It was a good second book. Sometimes books can really disappoint you, like the second book in series, and this didn't really disappoint me, but I did want it to be better than it was. So I'm gonna give it 4 out of 5, but I did really enjoy it. The third book is Fire Study, and this book was, I think, meant to be like the end of the series, but there are some, little loose ends and stuff like that could be carried on, and were obviously carried on to the new books that are supposed to be coming out. So, but it does kind of end things really well. My favorite things about this book was that really great characters, really, really, really amazing characters, and also writing style, really, really good. I also really, really enjoyed the magic and the fantasy and the world building and the world. I love this world so much. I would want to live here so badly. It's awesome. It's awesome. I love this world. And also the relationships between Yelena and some of the other characters in the book, especially in this one, really, they just made me so happy. And they weren't all romance, let me just say. Only one of them was romance. And the other relationships were kind of just really fun and interesting and just awesome, and I really enjoyed them. I really like romances, or not romances, I really like relationships that aren't, romance, that are just relationships, just normal friendships. Those are good too, add them in, authors, if you want to. My least favorite things about this book was, first of all, it's not as good as Poison Study. Poison Study was just so good, and this was not as good. And also, it wasn't as good as the second book, Magic Study, but only because there were some things about this book that were pretty annoying. Like, just really, really, really annoying. And it just, so yes, the things that I found annoying about this book was that Yelena, there was like a plot thing that kept on happening over and over again, like a repetitive plot thing. Yelena would over and over again be caught or captured or something like that, and then she would escape or be rescued, you know, and it would happen over and over and over again. Like, normal books have that happen like once or twice. This book was like so many times, like just over and over and over again. As many times as I'm saying over, that's how many times she got caught and then escaped. It just happened too much. Too much. And the other thing that really, really, really annoyed me was that for like 300 pages, and this book is 436 pages or something, the author kept recounting what happened in the previous books. You know how at the start of the book, or like the start of a sequel or something like that, the author will kind of remind you what happened in the first book, and I didn't even like that in the first place. I'm like, that's unnecessary. I've already read the first book, stop it. Because authors always do it really badly. They're like, look at this jumper. I wore that when my parents died. It was so sad. And then they just go through everything. Like, they just choose some random thing and then they just use that to tell you what happened, and it's annoying. This happened so many times. Just every now and again, Yelena would have just a memory or some random thing about something that happened in the previous books, and it just really annoyed me. Just really, really annoyed me. But I mean, it was still a good book. It was still a solid, really good ending, and I really enjoyed it, and I did have lots of things that I really enjoyed about it, and I gave this book 3 out of 5. So yes, that is my review of these 3 books. I really enjoyed all of them, even though they kind of declined as they went along. I still really enjoy this world. I love the characters so much. They're awesome. And I would definitely recommend that you read the whole series. Even though the last book and the second book aren't as good as the first book, it's still really awesome, and I still really enjoyed it. And it was good ending. A good ending. And I'm really excited for the next books. I'm just going to be reading all of the books in the series. I want more. More of this world, more of these characters. It's going to be so much fun. Also, I wanted to say that if you have watched this review and you've decided that you don't want to read this series because you don't want to read these 2 books, the books that aren't as good as Poison Study, then you don't have to. I just want to make that clear. Poison Study doesn't have like a cliffhanger ending or something like that. It doesn't force you to have to get the next book in the series. It's a good ending. Like, it obviously has some loose ends, but it's not like a divergent ending where you need to read the next book. Like, the author has forced you to go out and buy Insurgent. This book is a good book by itself, and it's an amazing book by itself, actually. So if you wanted to, you could just read Poison Study, and then if you like the world and the characters, you could get these books if you wanted to. So yes, just wanted to tell you that. So yeah, I really enjoyed this series, and thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Bye!